first filmmakers simply photographed what interested or amused them. They held a shot until they got bored, or the film ran out.
Horses on merry-go-rounds and an academic painting had long been represented with all feet off the ground, stretched out in front and back. Muybridge's pictures proved something else, that the feet do leave the ground at once, but when they're under the horse's body. These photos caused a great sensation. Meissonier, a celebrated painter of horses, is said to have wept when he saw Muybridge's photographs. It was the first time that such rapid motion could be seen like this, thin slices of time, quicker than anything the human eye could perceive. Muybridge experimented with the optical gadgets of the time, the zoetrope, thaumatrope, and phenakistoscope, and he created something he called the zoopraxiscope, a precursor to cinema. It showed his still images in rapid sequence, reanimating the still photos, and cast the image on a wall. Some would say that the only thing lacking was the sound of the hooves pounding the ground.
In 1878, Edward Muybridge created what is considered to be the first motion picture. He achieved this by placing 15 cameras alongside a racetrack while a horse galloped alongside it. He then spliced these images together to create the illusion of movement of the horse galloping. This could be considered the first editing as well as the origin of film, or the first GIF depending on whether you're on Tumblr or not.
What is on-screen drafting?
You've heard editors say that the editor writes the last draft of the script. Quentin Tarantino saying the editor writes the last draft of the script. Martin Scorsese has said it, George Lucas has said it, and it occurred to me, why not bring the editor in sooner while you're still writing the script and make the script better by using the editor's thinking to develop the script.
What makes a movie is the editing.
Been in the business for, I don't know, 37 years, I think, something like that. And I did not really realize what editing was until I was in the editing room myself.
There's magic to editing. Magic is a discovery of something new that wasn't intended, that works for the movie.
Porter discovered that cutting separate shots together could create a story.
Edwin S. Porter really was the one with the Life of the American Fireman, I think, that started intercutting and creating an emotional impact in the audience by intercutting two shots that are not related to each other.
A major Hollywood production shoots almost 200 hours of film. Unspooled, the film would stretch from LA to Vegas. An editor may work for months, even years, crafting this footage into a 2-hour movie. The finished film will contain thousands of shots, each measured in frames of 1/24th of a second.
For a writer, it's a word, all right? For a composer or a musician, it's a note, all right? For an editor and a filmmaker, it's the frames, all right? And you know, the 1 frame off or 2 frames added or 2 frames less is the difference between a sour note and a sweet note. It's the difference between clunky, clumsy crap, all right, and orgasmic rhythm.
Some bits are thrown away, quite a lot in fact, because we filmed about 3 times more than we needed. There's the picture part of the film, and the other is the sound. The editor, the man who cuts the film, has to make sure the sound matches the picture exactly.
3, take 1.
As the top of the clapperboard touches the bottom, the editor makes a mark on the picture.
No, 1.
Then the sound is marked, where the board bangs the bottom, and the two are matched.
2, 3, take 1.
Now the editor's making a mark on the film where he wants to cut it.
And that's the picture cut.
Right, now for the sound. He's joining the pieces he's chosen together in the right order.
It's all foretelling the story. And all you want to do is get the person emotionally invested in the story. So it becomes this invisible craft.
We call it the invisible art. And indeed, It is. I mean, the more invisible we are, the better we're doing our job.
Unfortunately, the invisible style of editing kept editors invisible and unappreciated as well. For years, they have been the best-kept secret of the movies. The first cutters were considered hands for hire rather than creative partners in the filmmaking process. They looked at the images by holding the film up to the light. Then they would check their work by running it through a projector and making the necessary adjustments.
It's constantly reminding me that I'm watching a movie. There are scenes inside an editing room. You see how they edited movies back in 1929. They were engaged in a pure explosion of creative activity in manipulating these images.
Editing is manipulation. We're manipulating reality as the audience sees it because you want the audience to respond in a certain way, whether it's a laugh or a sigh or a fright. Everything's manipulated. And some people say, well, this director, he's manipulated the audience. Well, that's so naive because that's all we do is manipulate.
And editing is why people like movies, because in the end, wouldn't we like to edit our own lives? I think we would. I think everybody would like to take out the bad parts, take out the slow parts, and look deeper into the good parts.
In the century since Edwin Porter introduced editing, editors have emerged from their dimly lit back rooms. Once anonymous men and women, they have gradually become principal collaborators in the filmmaking process. The best-kept secret in the movies, the editor, is finally out.
The Oscar goes to